Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is for you, I'm Cyclone. Time for more Let's Play Train Simulator Classic. Let's go ahead and do the third part of the scenario, second part of the 1Z01, picking up from Stevenage, heading as far as Peterborough. You may remember in previous videos we started by getting the train out of Hornsey Depot to get to London King's Cross. We then took the train from King's Cross to Stevenage, and as you can see, we're now doing the third and final leg of that. In the future, we'll do the right in the other direction with scenarios 6, 7, and 8, doing the exact same thing in reverse. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and finish that journey. Again, you may have noticed, as I pointed out in a previous video, that the hardest scenarios are apparently the ones that go to Peterborough. We're going to find out why that is today. So let's go ahead and get started on that and see what makes this so difficult. Good morning, driver. Wasn't I already here? Having arrived at Stevenage in Part 1, your short layover is complete. Please open the doors to allow final passengers to board. Why were they closed? Before your non-stop run to Peterborough. More information is available in your briefing. Okay, let's go ahead and open the doors again. They should have already been open, but we won't discuss that. Going to bring up the minimal HUD for now, as we just confirmed that, yes, we are making one stop at Peterborough. And that's it for this journey. So I don't know what makes this so difficult. I really honestly don't, compared to the previous scenario. Maybe there's a couple of lapsing speed changes. Maybe that 30 at Peterborough has seen it being difficult to get down for. I don't know. We'll find out. So we're just going to look at our train before we leave. Alright, away we go. Once we can get some power on the train. And leaving Stevenage. Our only stop today is Peterborough. So we're going to start bringing that train up to full speed here. I didn't want to apply full power to avoid wheel slip. Of course, the instant change to red as you pass the tip of the signal. Now, I have started fiddling with the Spirit of Steam pack on Train Sim World. I've noticed the trains behave a lot differently. I've driven the Jubilee so far. The trains behave a lot differently in that game, I'm finding. It seems a lot harder to drive. I actually ran a scenario 22 minutes late, but apparently you can still be late and get a gold medal. So, yay. I'm also running a little bit behind schedule today. Usually I have the video taped at least early in the morning at the latest, even if I publish it the same day. But today I've had, like, the last couple days have been really, really busy days for me. So I'm literally on the day I intend to publish this, recording this around dinner time. So I'm rushing to get this up for you before the day is out, so I can start working on some other projects and maybe get something ready in advance for you for next week. That's my goal, to get this caught up right now if I can, because I know I'm busy tomorrow as well for a little while. So I'm having a bit of a challenge right now finding time to record some stuff here, but we're going to keep trying to do it. I've been a couple months ahead before. I can try and get about a month ahead again. So I'm in the 55 mile per hour range. I seem to have stalled there, so I'm going to lower my reverser just a little bit to get a little more speed on here. I can go up to 75. We may have a changeover at 70 between a fast line and a slow line. Let's change our view for a minute, shall we? Let's take a look at the crossings over here. Or not the crossings, any trains going by. There's a green signal on that track. That is the fast track going in the same direction as us. So we may see an 801 flying by at some point. I actually want to see that. Maybe we'll see a 801 going by. That'd be really nice to see. As you can see, our timetable currently shows us being only about 2 minutes ahead of time. So we're still losing a little bit of time here, but as we get our speed closer to 75, we should start at least keeping par and maybe gaining time back. The only concern then is whether we're going to have any kind of a signal we have to respond to that I might miss responding to. The only remaining question. Okay, got my reverser down to 30%. We have a red signal on that lane now, so I guess the high-speed trains are not going to fly by. That's good to know. And I am already gaining time. I just gained 30 seconds instantly somewhere in there, which is nice. We have an 80 speed limit coming up. I'm limited to 75 anyway, so that 80 means absolutely nothing to me. You can see the Hitchin area approaching. You can see on the left we did still have a green signal here. So when I say I'm recording this a little bit late, don't expect any flashy edits. I'm just going to be going straight from point A to point B. Hopefully not screwing up to make it even easier for me. And doing a couple of transitions, and that's it. We're not going to do anything fancy today. It's just going to be a straight drive. I'm just going to let you enjoy the drive with me today. This is Hitchin Station. I made it to 70.7 miles per hour. I am losing slight amounts of time here again, so apparently I have to try and get that up a little higher. I don't know how I'm going to do that. Oh, I can get to that apparently. Let's try that. We're on a slight downhill gradient, which should help me a wee bit. The heavy uphill would completely suck right now. Now you're going to notice in the HUD it shows Peterborough Platform 5 with only 17.59 miles to go. This is another case where there are other tasks blocking that, and because we don't see those tasks on the list obviously, we don't have any indication what's going to happen in terms of when this countdown is going to start on the mileage. So we have to try to keep our pace going to the point where the last task before this Peterborough task is activated. When we get to that last task, we need to be at that task, I would say at this point by about, let me see, 8:40 is our arrival time, so I'd say we have to be there by about 8:22, 8:23 maybe. Excuse me. Maybe even 8:21 if we want to give ourselves a little more time. So we're going to likely have that counter starting from the last station before we get to the Peterborough task. The last station. So what that means is we already passed Hitchin. We're going to be seeing Arlesey if we haven't already and I missed it. We're going to see Biggleswade. We're going to see Sandy. We're going to see another station which, because of the manual, I don't see properly in my listing. The manual error. And then we're going to see Huntingdon. Huntingdon is the last station before Peterborough. Our speed has moved up to 72.2. I am still losing time. And this is where the scenario timings are questionable. Because it seems that the count is assuming that you're going the full speed. We're limited to 75 miles per hour, and it's not easy to get from 70 to 75 if we can even get to 75. So the timings really should be placed around 70 miles per hour, not 75 miles per hour. We'll see if this works out later on. Now, I might notice I respond to the whistle board for the fast lane. The slow lane whistle board is a little bit further along. But if we let the whistle board go a couple seconds, then hit the whistle, that should be sufficient enough. We're not docked for it anyway, but that should still be sufficient enough. There's another 75 mile per hour section. This is what I wanted to see. That should assist me a little bit with the timings for right now. I feel like I might have missed Arlesey. Hey! That's what I wanted to see today. Beauty. I think I saw the steam increase when I blew the whistle, which is actually a really nice feature. Ah, there's NATO 1 the other way. And there's a slow train. Every line is in use today, ladies and gentlemen. That was a controlled crossing. See, I did miss Arlesey, and the reason I know that is because Biggleswade is right there. I'll see if I can point it out as I drive by. That'll just be a quick check. In terms of Arlesey, that is. And I just remembered what that station is blotted out in the manual. Between Sandy and Huntingdon. I think it's St. Neots. That's the station I'm forgetting. There's another 80 mile per hour section up ahead. So, yay to losing more time. We're gaining time right now. We are really gaining time. And losing it all at once. Ah, more information. The British Empire exhibition made Flying Scotsman famous, and it went on to feature in many more publicity events for the LNER. In 1928, it was given a new type of tendon with a corridor, which meant that a new crew could take over without stopping the train. This allowed it to haul the first ever non-stop London to Edinburgh service on May 1st that year in a scheduled journey time of 8 hours and 15 minutes. And I made it through all that, thank goodness. And I expected that to disappear before I was done, but maybe it's not going to disappear. I might actually have to close that by hand. Yeah, I'm going to have to close that by hand, so I'm just going to go ahead and clear that very quickly. Okay, so the 801 up ahead on the fast lane has cleared a bit here because the signal on that line just turned green. I believe another train is going to eventually be coming if we have a green signal. We shall see. So we're going to be taking a bit of a leftward alignment on our way to Sandy, and after we get through Sandy, we're going to bend to the right. Going to start heading back to the east. Looks like the fast lane has a warning for a 40. That might be for a transfer track more than anything else. That's probably where the 40 would have applied, right there. I don't remember if I used that track or not yet. So this is obviously Sandy. We are now bending to the right as I suggested. So we're on our way now to St. Neots. Another 801. I actually was just watching one of the videos. I'm not going to name him for promotional reasons, but because, well, I'm not paid to promote people. I do like his channel, though. Actually, I'll change my mind. I will. I'm trying to remember what I want to say on that. It's someone who actually did a video along the East Coast Main Line with a special focus on Brookman's Park. And Brookman's Park is apparently, they've been introducing the Oyster cards in the last few years to the area around London, so they started saying it outside London. Apparently Brookman's Park is a special status as a non-Oyster regular payment card type of thing, which is a very, very interesting thing. Why they didn't put the Oyster thing there, I don't understand. But again, I'm not on the UK Rail Network. I can't say specifically, but it's a very interesting discovery. Apparently, when the Elizabeth line is fully open to reading, a number of stations along there aren't going to have it either. But I remember doing the Great Western Main Line, and this is a much, much older version of the route, pre-Elizabeth line. So, needless to say, we're not going to see any purple stuff in that version of the route. But we have traveled the Reading to, the Reading to London Paddington section before. Note, of course, there are no through lines that we will take through London Paddington. In fact, the Elizabeth line, I think, goes through a... I might be wrong, but I think it's an underground section underneath, like a few floors below the rest of the station. So the through lines would actually be accessed through as track that splits off to the left as you go towards London Paddington. So we would not actually see those lines anyway, but very, very interesting to know how that was built in there. And I don't know if it would be for Train Sim Classic or Train Sim World, but if not for the fact that the train on that route runs automatically, you don't have to play with the speed at all, and it's just the same train all the time. If it weren't for that, I would say that's a perfect train for the simulator, but perfect route for the simulator. The reason why it would not be a perfect route for us is because, again, there's nothing to do in the train. You just sit there, push one button, it does all the thinking for you. It comes to a stop when you need to. You're there in case something breaks down. So, unless you expect every scenario to be you having broken down for some reason, it's going to be the same thing, pushing button after button, the same button over and over. And then opening the doors, closing the doors, pushing the button, opening the doors, closing the doors, pushing a button. That's it. You don't do any thinking. So I've seen requests for the Elizabeth line, and I won't lie, I also think it would be a nice addition, but because the train is so simple to drive most of the time in a regular timetable, it kind of takes away from the idea of, okay, you have to meet this timetable and try to score. You're going to get a perfect score every time, unless you forget to open the doors and you end up behind schedule or something. But even then, I still think you get the accuracy points. So, what do I know? It would be fun to take a new version of Great Western Main Line based on the Elizabeth Line trains being there. But I don't see DTG revisiting the Great Western Main Line, or the Great Western Express as it's called in the game, just to add the purple train to it. I can't see them doing that. And again, I can't see them developing the purple train because it would be automatic, unless they make it so you have to drive it all the time, which they could theoretically do. It is possible to drive manually, but unless they do that, there's no way you're going to be having to drive it all the time. There's no way you're going to have anything to do. It's going to be boring. More about getting collectibles than anything else. Excuse me, I have a sudden bout of hiccups. Is that a yellow? That's a yellow. I need to respond. I didn't see what kind of yellow that was. I assume it would have been a double yellow. There might be a train in the station up ahead. That's a red. Oh boy. There's the yellow. I was doing way too well, apparently. I was doing way too well. So that's a yellow now. I have a feeling it's going to clear to a double yellow. I did not have a double yellow earlier, so... Oh, I didn't respond to that either. Well, that's a fail, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to St. Neots. I think I've got plenty of time anyway. I'm still flashing 837 on my ETA. So I have a feeling there's still going to be another yellow signal ahead stopping me anyway. But I have to wait now for this to reset. Put the reverser all the way back up, and off we go. Let's go. Off we go. Brakes off, please. Well, I have to have at least one fail moment, don't I? There's my fail moment of the day. I'm not allowed any more. While we're stalled here, and while the 801 is laughing at me being stalled here, point at the stalled train, everyone. Ha ha! Look at Grandpa having a hard time moving again. Ha ha! I had to do it. So as you can see, with our momentary hiccup behind us, we are approaching St. Neots at this time. That might eat into my time. That might eat into my time. We will see what happens. It's going to take a while to get ourselves back up to speed here, which is very unfortunate. So checking back over here, we don't have a signal yet, but it should be green by now, I would imagine. If it's not green, we have a serious problem. I need to try to get this speed going up quicker, so I'm trying to figure out what I can do to make this speed up faster. Trying to provide more air via the reverser seems to be the strategy right now. I'm stalling there, so I'm going to move it down a bit. There's our green, so we are good to go at this point. I'm going to change back to this view. So I have to be at at Huntingdon in about 6 minutes. I don't know if that's going to happen. I do not know if that's going to happen. Now, of course, if I can get back to, it might not even need to be that much time because, or that early, because if I get back to the 70, 75 area, I'm going to be going a little faster than a mile per minute, which could allow me to do that in about 15 minutes. So I need to get up to speed as fast as I can. We're at the 50s right now. It is a green signal. So my guess is there was a train ahead of me making a stop. That must be what it is. If it is a train that would also stop at Huntingdon, this might solve my problem for me, because that's going to have to slow down and speed up again as well anyway. So that might solve my problem. I might be okay. I think we go down to one lane at that point as well, in each direction. Because I know we have fast speeds going all the way to Peterborough. So I think I'll be okay at that point. Just have to keep an eye out for any trains that we might be following. Let's take a quick look at the map, actually, just to confirm, once I confirm we have a green signal. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we also have whistle boards, so I'll go ahead and I'll blow the whistle in a moment. Bring the reverser back down because I'm not gaining enough speed. There's the whistle board. So now I'll take a quick peek at the map just to see what's going on. I'm going to center on where I am. You can see where I am down here. I'm heading up in this direction. Huntingdon is all the way up, well, here. And as you can see, the train that was ahead of me and is now way ahead of me is indeed making a stop at Huntingdon. The Three Bridges to Peterborough. Three Bridges being way back on the London to Brighton route is finishing its service at Peterborough. We'll see that train up there. So we're going to be seeing him when we pull in. But he now got way ahead of us because we had our emergency brake situation. So we're just struggling to catch up right now. It'll be up to speed before we see any more yellows. So we should be green all the way at this point, I would imagine. We're getting up to mile-a-minute territory. I don't think we're going to be at St. Neots within 4 minutes. So we're going to have to see how the speed works out for me and see if we can get up to what we need to be at. Reverser's going to come down to 30 now, which is probably about where I want to leave it. Maybe back at 33 for a moment or 34 while I try to finish getting up to speed. Let's look over at the lovely water feature over here. Lovely. They might be asking me what water feature that is. I'll see if I can tell you. I can't. It's not on this map. Good to know. Normally I use the open railway map, but I don't have that handy right now. I almost had a heart attack there. I thought that was my red. But I didn't have a yellow, so it couldn't have been. So you may remember I went up and showed you where Huntingdon was earlier. As soon as we reach Huntingdon, our mileage countdown will start. This is our way to know where we are. We are now over a mile a minute. We're at 63 miles per hour. I missed a train going by. There it is. I missed it. Now, what's interesting about the Peterborough stop, notice I don't have to pick up passengers. I just have to bring the train to a halt somewhere, and that's it. We don't have to do any passenger pickup. Oh, no, it does say passenger pickup. It says stop, but it doesn't say passenger pickup. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. Meanwhile, what I'd really love to know at this point is whether the other train has finished its stop at Huntingdon yet. We have a green signal, so we're going to keep an eye ahead. 2 trains coming. I'm going to get back to that. Huntingdon's not too far away, actually, when you think about it. And it looks like the train might be... I'm going to watch the trains come by first. Yeah, it had to be those 2 trains. 365 and 801. Easily. So there's Huntingdon. If we look back at the Huntingdon station, indeed, the train is gone. And there's no stations between Huntingdon and Peterborough. So our countdown's about to start, and I think we are about maybe less than a minute away at this point. So I think we are going to be good for our timing, even with that hiccup. Countdown should start now. In 1934, a Scotsman was clocked at 100 miles per hour, oh yeah, I wish, on a special test run. Officially the first locomotive in the UK to reach that speed. The test run proved to the LNER's directors that steam power could provide high speeds, negating a plan for the company to use diesel power on its high-speed services. That is, until it became required to get rid of all steam, because apparently it's healthier to use diesel. I don't get it, but probably get rid of coal is what the idea was, and then the coal mines all shut down, and there went the heyday of rail from 100 years earlier. A lot of the coal places stopped shipping it in the 80s, and there was not really a lot of option at that point. And as I said, the countdown has started. We are now under 60.5 miles to go. So we are maintaining good speed. I am inclined to bring the speed down to 60 in a little bit here, because that would put me right at the pace I need to be at. But I know there is a section that is 30 coming into Peterborough, and I don't want to take chances with that either. So we're going to stay where we are for right now. What I could do is keep the train at 70 without any more speed, and I should still be okay. And given the slow pace of the increase, that's probably what's going to happen. So I want to keep an eye over here in case this signal shows something. It shouldn't, but just in case it does. Oh. So you can see again the staggered whistle boards here, and it's about a second apart. Just zoom out a little bit here. I can see the green signal up ahead there. 13.3 miles from that signal to Peterborough. Now 12.2 miles to Peterborough. Now remember that to our right, way back at the London area, the Hertford Loop line left around the Alexandra Palace and has been running to the right all this time. Now on our version of the route, it is not sceneried. There is a route add-on available at another website that does add the Hertford Loop line with full scenery. The only complication is that this scenery version of the line requires certain routes from that site that are not available on Steam. So unless a Steam version of those routes comes along, the Hertford Loop line is going to stay pretty much unsceneried or full of milk bottles if you try and run it without those routes. I think the OHLE is put it from that site is put it on the Hertford Loop line as well. I haven't picked up any of that content yet from that site because it's just way above my price range right now, and I'm not sure if it's worth that price or not. But at some point I'm going to have to see if I can pick some of that up to take a look at it, because there are people who swear by that content. And if I do end up picking up those routes, I will try and show you the Hertford Loop line. That said, there is an extension to Moorgate on the south end of the route going through Finsbury Park onto the main route, so I want to see if I can show you that as well. That does not require the other site's content. That requires, I think, just a basic European Loco and asset pack. I think it'll let me show off a new Loco there as well. That's a yellow. Is that on my line? That might be on my line. No, that's on the other line, double yellow. Okay. I guess I'm still green. I'm really early at this point, 3 minutes early. I'm going to actually lower my regulator and just coast for a while because I am very, very early. In fact, there's a 70 coming up. I need to get down to speed anyway. So if you're not familiar with this route, that 70 is where this slow line comes to a termination and is going to merge into the fast line, so it all becomes one fast line. You notice the slow line on the other side is missing as well, so I'm going to actually show you the map for a second. We're only on 3 lines right now. The slow line here actually started right around here. Those sidings all eventually merged and the slow line formed out of that. So our slow line on this side is going to be ending up ahead. And when that ends, we're going to have just 2 lanes, one in each direction. A normal double track layout here. We're doing well enough now that I'm going to put the regulator back up. I should not reach 70 while I'm in this area. I'm at 67 now. Notice the warning on the other track for a decrease to 105. We enter the line as it says 125, but then it goes straight down to 105. We don't need that warning because we're already under that speed, and we're not going to have time to get up to it. So we've now merged onto the proper line on the single remaining track. And there'll be no more trains passing each other in the same direction. That is ended. 105 is now the speed limit. We, of course, are limited to 75 miles per hour. We should not need that. In fact, I'm going to go ignore what the ETA says from now on because we should be, if we were staying at this speed, we should be there by 8:38. Of course, we're going to be cut to 30 at one point. So 8:39 maybe, 8:39 and a half. That's plenty of time for our stop. And that assumes going 60 the whole way. Here comes an 801. Let's see what this one's named. This one's heading for London King's Cross from Lincoln Central. There you go. So approaching 70 miles per hour. I'm not seeing where the 3 difficulty is on this one. I really am not. Now there is a crossover track there, so I guess that's an emergency crossover in case there's a line closed. You see the shunt signal over there too. That was a red shunt signal that was passed there. So that red shunt signal would serve any trains that have to cross over. It is not for mainline running, it is for shunting only. Now entering a 115 speed limit from the 100 that we were in. I think that's the last speed limit change before we drop to 30 up ahead. We only have 4¼ miles to go. I lied, there's a drop to 105. Okay, I forgot. That's what I thought we were going. My mistake. I got it mixed up. But we're getting so close to the station now anyway that it doesn't really matter. The 30 is right after it, as you can see. In fact, it's a 40 first, then we're going to get a 30. Or maybe it is a 40 in the station. What do I know? But it turns out there's a lot of space where we have to go 40 here. So it looks like staying at full speed was a wise decision here. So I'm putting a little bit of brake power on to see if I can start my deceleration. I have a yellow. This time I know it's my yellow because there's no other trains here. Let's see if it's a double yellow. It is a double yellow. I see Peterborough notes up ahead on an orange marker. That's covering almost all of the remaining space here. So we're going to hope that we're getting... Right now, as far as we know, that signal 1.5 miles away is red. That's the signal that protects Peterborough. I need to get some more brakes on because I'm not coming to a slow enough descent here. I also need to make sure I respond to the signal when it flashes. You can see the platform up ahead now. I'm taking the brakes off because I should have enough speed dropped. There's the warning I've been waiting for. I'm down to 40. It is a single yellow, so yes, the signal up ahead is a red aspect. So I'm going to take a little more speed off just to ensure I don't have any problems. I don't remember what that is over on the left there. There's something there. Ah, I see. That's the Neon Valley. Oh, that's where we're going to go in the next couple scenarios on this route. Okay. We're heading over to that area and then handing over the controls. Got it. Now I know. I wanted to know where that was. So we only have a mile to go. If we were going 30 the whole way, we'd be there in 2 minutes. But we have a red. And there is the 30 already up ahead. I can see that now. So zooming ahead, I see nothing. Because there's no signal in range yet, obviously. I'm going to change to this view so I can get a look at that signal when it shows up. I want to see if it's a red. If it's a yellow, we'll just chug right along. I'm going to take my brakes off for now. In fact, they were off. So I'm going to put some regulator back on. Move the reverser up a little bit. I'm doing good for power. That's the good news. There are speed warnings up ahead. I have to respond to them anyway, even though I'm under the speed by now. There's the warning right now. I do have some kind of a approved signal up ahead. Looks like that is a main aspect straight ahead, green or yellow at this point. So we're going to put some speed back on to get back up to 30. We are less than a mile from Peterborough, but why take chances? Beautiful bridge ahead. A huge yard over there on the left. Gonna pull my view back over to this side. We're gonna take a look over here. There is the train that I think we were following earlier that gave us a stop, the 9J10. That's who that is, the Three Bridges to Peterborough service. I showed that one on the map earlier. I'm going to put some brakes on because now I want to start slowing down. We're going to try and stop before we get to the end of the platform because the signal's right there. In fact, I need to slow my entry quite a bit here to make sure we don't pass the signal. I'm going to go right past that signal if I'm not careful. Let's not do that today, shall we? That'll do. Well, we can go a little bit more maybe. I have the time. I'm going to go forward a little bit more here. The red, that's a green signal we have, so we actually could keep going, but I don't want to. And now our entire train's in the platform. That's enough. We're done. Bring it to a stop. And that is that. I'm going to open the doors. The stop has turned into a let passengers on. So let's go ahead and look at our train as passengers get another look at the train. And thus our part of this rail tour to Leeds comes to an end. Another driver who is signed for the Peterborough to Leeds segment will take over. That service obviously is going to be skipping York because Leeds is over in the other direction. So we're going to be going up a line probably through Doncaster and then from Doncaster to Leeds. Because that is the route that I am familiar with in that area. And there is actually the DPS route going through to York that I need to show you at some point as well. There is a Doncaster Leeds section on that other side I mentioned earlier too, which I actually can get a look at as well someday. So we can go to the other routes that this rail tour covers, but we don't have scenarios for those parts, and they don't go with this pack. So there you go. There you go. Scenario complete. You've reached the end of the scenario successfully. Just straight to the scoring screen, and we won't waste any time here. And there we go. I had no reason to be worried about the timings. It looks like these scenarios were created with proper timings in mind, which is much better than in the past with some older scenarios. I know that was something I called out on routes like Sherman Hill and some other routes as well. I'm glad to see these scenarios are being done properly from the career perspective. That's really nice to see. And props to the scenario maker for doing it that way. So, full career score is possible on those first three. I assume it is for the rest as well. Now that we know where the Mean Valley Railway is, we know where we're going to be going in those two scenarios when we do them, the back and forth. That'll probably be one video. I don't think I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. I'm going to just do it as a little quickie video one day to show you both of those. I might just quickly record them so I have the footage and the video ready to go, but I'm going to save it as a quickie video when I need something quick and I don't have time to do anything one day. That might be what I'll do that day. But once we do get a chance to look at those quickie scenarios, we're going to at some point do the return trip on the rail tour as well. I don't know if we're going to do scenarios 9 and 10, which are the full journey, but I do want to at least get the return rail tour in because that's another segmented set of scenarios. We can see what it looks like the other way. So I do want to genuinely get through at least 8 of these scenarios at some point. Not all right now. We're going to switch to something else, I think, next time. But I do want to get a genuine look at all 8 scenarios at some point, at the first 8 scenarios at some point. Those back and forth ones, I might save for a day when I start doing live streams, and I might do a lovely journey on a live stream using one of those two. But for right now, I'm only looking at doing the 8 of them. We'll see, though. I may change my mind if I need something to do one day and I have an off day that I only have one odd day before I do something else for a new week. I might do one there, but I haven't decided yet. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, though, have a wonderful day, evening, night, whatever it is for your part of the world. Make sure you like, video, subscribe to the channel. Come back next time to see what I'm doing next time. That's really all I can say for that. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, like I said already, and I'll see you then. I'm Cyclone. Bye-bye.